Yeah, so we have to give credit to the Cincinnati defense for bowing up here and actually showing up, minus their best player. Bunch of younger guys on the field.
Yep.
And that defensive line took it to them. Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover. Let's talk football.
We're a couple of average football fans that watch college, the NFL. We hope to earn your like and subscribe today. This is our review of the Bengals-Ravens game. What are your initial thoughts?
I mean, there's something wrong with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, my thought was my line here. It says Burrow's back, baby, with the help of the officials. That's what I had from this one.
Yeah, there's that too.
Oh my goodness.
You know what?
Yeah.
When you look in the box score, it's actually not that many penalties. They just seem to be critical ones.
Oh, I'm not just about the penalties I'm talking about. I've got a list here. So do you want to start with those things? All right.
Fire
perfect.
away, baby.
Yeah, so this should have been way closer, and the box score looks like it. Like, because in terms of, how much passing yards and rushing yards, like the total yards from either team is not that different. It's not like a 14-point difference, which is 14-plus point difference. So anyway,
right.
There was a Baltimore guy running into the end zone with the ball and fumbled it right before the goal line, and then, and was reviewed that he didn't break the plane.
But he
which
didn't.
is, I understand, was close, but
close, but he didn't. Yeah.
And then there was that was 7 points right off the board. And then Baltimore had touchdown, called a touchdown, and then called back for the offensive pass interference, which was bad. Like that easily could have not been called, right? That's another 7 points. And then there was the last one was Lamar Jackson, which looked like a forward pass, but it's sort of, I guess it's like that tuck rule kind of thing, where it's like, is he bringing it back in or not? But to me, that was like a real judgment thing. Like it was going forward, then his hand was coming down, but like that easily could have been an incomplete pass, which ended up being a turnover. Then Cincinnati scored. So like this Baltimore. Yes, Lamar Jackson didn't look great, but like those were big swings in momentum that would have made this really a lot closer than normally a 5 turnover to 1 margin wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I agree that those were impactful decisions that as you're watching the game, you're like, oh, that's another one kind of in the Bengals' favor. And that tuck rule thing, like I remember it. That was that famous game, right, with Brady and the Raiders
in the snow. Yeah.
And so I get their point that if you're not in the motion of throwing it anymore and you're trying to pull it back, which clearly that's what he was trying to do. Like, okay, so this is the problem with that type of rule. You have physically what's happening versus the intent. The intent is clearly he's trying to pull that back. Like that is not him trying to throw. You can't possibly tell me that's him trying to throw the ball and like it's a check swing. He's like, well, no, I don't want to throw that one.
True.
But that's the tuck rule.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It did look like a check swing. That's a good comparison because it's you're in the throwing motion and then you're stopping it. The only pushback I'll say is that after you throw the ball, your hand goes forward too and goes down.
Yeah.
So like it's the part that I really have the hard part with is the intent part where they're like, now to us it seems like you weren't trying to throw starting at this point and coming back in, which I don't.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, that could be called. I think you can call, if you bother to really pay attention to what the rule means, you can call that either way. And I think it's not overturnable either way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because even a Baltimore fan would have to admit that's not him trying to throw the ball. That's him trying to stop, like check swing it and not throw that ball. That's what he's doing. Nobody just does that and just their hand goes, that's not a throw, right?
Right.
So, and that's not it slipping out of his hand or no one touches him. He's like, no, I don't want to throw that one. And then you end up with like Garrett was saying, the nose down. Like it's clearly he's trying to not complete the
because
motion.
if you are throwing it and it slips out of your hand, is that a fumble or an incomplete pass?
I think it's incomplete if you're in the motion and you're not
and it just
at
comes
all
out.
trying to tuck it.
Right.
It just comes, and that happens sometimes, right? Now it has to go forward. Sometimes guys do that and it goes backwards. Yes. Obviously, that's a fumble. Right. But in this case, I totally agree with you. It's questionable, but his intent was to
Mhm.
take it back. And then when you look at it from that standpoint, that's definitely not him trying to throw it forward.
Mhm.
And if we're going to argue intent doesn't matter, then what's the point of the tuck rule?
Yeah. No, I get it. And
Yeah.
it was really, I guess the point is that it was just another really close call
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that easily,
Mhm.
like I feel like they could have called it an incomplete pass on the field, and then I don't know if they would have had enough to turn it over, like one of those things again. But anyway,
Yeah, if it was incomplete, I think it would stay incomplete. Where was it? Did they call it a fumble?
I think they called it a fumble,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
So if it was incomplete, I think it probably would have just stayed
Yeah.
incomplete.
So
Actually,
anyway,
that would be even more curious. I would have liked to have seen them say, audibly say,
yeah,
oh no, instead of just saying the play on field was upheld,
right.
I'd like to have seen them call it incomplete, then overturn it. Sorry, I would like to hear the explanation if that happened.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Because all I can come up with was it was clear he was attempting to take that ball back.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
But
you.
I don't know if that's what they would say. Anyways, you're right. That was controversial. Now, it should have and could have been closer. I mean, the Ravens outgained them, right?
Yeah, they did.
And they're running. Okay, so they have a couple of things that don't make sense to me. They were pretty efficient running the ball. They were
Yes.
what,
Well,
six?
yeah, that was we're talking a lot about Baltimore here, and they were the one that didn't win. And Joe Burrow's your guy. But anyway, we'll keep talking about Baltimore. Like Derrick Henry had 10 carries for 60 yards for averaging 6 yards a carry. So I don't know why he didn't get more. Now he missed a couple series, right? So they
Mhm.
might have been banged up or something, was fighting something. But it did, like, yeah, considering how windy it was and how Lamar was clearly struggling with the wind more than Burrow.
Mhm.
So it was a surprise and they didn't lean on Henry more.
That surprised me given his efficiency. But overall, they were 5.6 yards per rush.
Yeah.
But they only, 22 attempts? So
Yeah.
somewhere in there, and they were never so far out of this game that they just had to resort to passing.
No.
So I don't understand that. I know everyone can do the armchair quarterbacking, and every fan always questions the play calling. Obviously, we can't coordinate an offense. It's just surprising that statistically and eye test, the run game seemed to be now the Bengals did a good job of stopping Henry, and he had some big runs. And then a bunch of getting stuffed and then some big runs. But he had 2 or 3 moments where he really busted through. And the other running back, his name escapes me. I don't have it up right now.
There's Keaton Mitchell or Rashawn Alley. Rasheed
Mitchell.
Alley. Yeah.
Mitchell,
Mitchell
right.
looked good. 34.
Yeah, so they were getting yards. It seemed effective enough to stick with it, kind of like how the Seahawks stubbornly stick with it, and eventually it works. It's kind of ugly most of the game.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, they had the same amount of rush yards, 128 to 123. I just don't understand why they didn't stick with it. I don't know. It's just it's surprising to me, given what seemed like it was somewhat efficient, and Henry still had some big plays. Why they wouldn't, unless you're right, unless there's an injury. We're still, as of time of recording, we don't know anything about injuries, whether or not Henry was injured or if Jackson had anything nagging. But that surprised me that they just didn't stick with the run more.
No, and considering what Lamar Jackson's completion percentage was, it was they were struggling with that too. So that was surprising. But really to me, the takeaway from this was that Burrow's awesome. He looked great. It looked like he wasn't rusty at all. And I'm just pissed off that we haven't got a whole season of him, because that's a different Cincinnati Bengal team than the 3-8 team that came into this game. Like, they're obviously way better with them. That's a not exactly a hot take, but it's just, as a fan, it's super frustrating to not see the Bengals play with him. That's what I miss, because I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be really tough for them to do it. They have to basically win out. But I like watching Joe Burrow play.
Yeah, and somehow the defense plays better when he's there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Joseph Osai, good for him, 2 sacks, and he was all over the place on the defensive line. The secondary, everyone just had a better game here, and I guess the announcers were saying the last couple of games, the defense has been playing better. And again, this is all without Hendrickson.
Yep.
And now you can always say, with all of the turnovers, you can always say, well, did you force it or did they just fumble? So it's a little bit of both. Jackson, okay, I know we're dwelling on the Ravens, even though the Bengals won this game, but let's just get this Ravens talk out of the way before we start in on the Bengals. This is now either Jackson comes up with just some terrible fumbles, and or Henry. This team had the shortest odds for the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
It's a
Now
really
they
good
might
point.
not even make the playoffs playing this badly. And
Yes.
again, it's their best players, two-time MVP QB. And it's the simplest thing. It's just ball security. He just can't even keep his hands on the ball.
No,
and it happened against the Bills in the playoffs. It happened
Mhm.
against the Bills in the regular season. Something about it. This is too often now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know if he's just so confident that he doesn't like, oh, you better get both hands on the ball right now. Like that first one that just flipped up in the air.
Oh, on the 5-yard line.
I could. Oh, and they were happening in the red zone constantly.
Yeah.
Either red zone. Oh, it's just brutal.
Yeah, no, that can't happen. You have to protect the football. And everybody knows that. And even on the broadcast, they talked about that where, look at Henry, like what he's doing now, holding it high and tight and the 5 points of contact. And you could hear the announcer was like, he's really good. Henry's amazing, but you still got to go back to like the fundamentals, right? You're almost surprised, like, he's one of the all-time leaders in rushing touchdowns or something. And you feel like, and Jackson's a 2-time MVP, and you feel like you shouldn't have to go over ball security, but like, it's a problem. It's a legit problem with this team. And you cannot expect to win a game if you have that many turnovers. And especially when you're on like the 5-yard line, it's ridiculous. Like that should never happen. He's got to cover up when he feels the pressure and he's starting to get sacked. He has to cover up the ball in that point.
And this is a division rival. It's a division game.
Yeah.
I know the Bengals are kind of out of it because their record's so terrible. But
I mean, it's the only reason why they're still in it is because this is a division game and they still have another game against the Ravens coming up. So
at home.
Yeah,
they just beat the Ravens in their own stadium. So it's
it's Bills next week, and then they host the Ravens after that. So they're playing them again soon.
It's unbelievable to me that something as simple as, and everyone's doing it. Like Flowers dropped one. Jackson had the weird. Okay, we can say the weird take back fumble thing. Tuck rule.
Yeah,
okay, that easily could have been just an incompletion, but the terrible fumble that, I guess it's the fumble that just popped up in the air in the red zone.
That was like in the first quarter. That one, it was ridiculous.
Then the tip pass that got intercepted again in the red zone, in the positive red zone, not the negative, but the one that Demetrius Knight Jr. shout out. I guess his dad actually commented on our podcast once. So it's just on both ends of the field. Like that's sort of how the Bengals have the score that they have without it being reflected in extra yards.
It's good memory about the Knight thing. So was he the one that caused the fumble or caught it?
He caught it. Somebody,
no way. There you go. Shout out to the Knight family. There was the Saturday versus Sunday, fans.
Yep. But it's in critical games against, division teams, playoff teams you're competing for playoff spots with, is when the Ravens seem to lose control of the football. I don't even know how else to say it. It just doesn't make sense for a team that's this good with players this good. And it seems to keep happening. And I know that fumbles and turnovers basically just regress to the mean. It doesn't just always happen, right? But man, it's consistent lately with this team.
No, and that's a really good point about who they're playing, right? Like these are division or important against the Bills last year, like you said. Like these are big time games, and for it to be a problem in those games is not a good thing. Like that is it's really bad. Last point I'll make, just about the running. I was, again, like you said, armchair quarterback. I feel like Baltimore should have run the ball more. That also would have helped with the time of possession, because the Cincinnati killed them on that. It was 38 minutes to 21. And so that just would have been another reason to hold the ball more and give it to Henry. I'm interested. I'm assuming something's going to come out saying that he was struggling with something, or, because I don't understand not coming out for that many possessions. So.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw how badly the Bengals beat them in time of possession. I guess they have the Ravens were a bit of a quick strike, so to speak. They would get yards in chunks in this game, like big chunk plays. And the other note I have here is Jackson was the most effective throwing the ball on the run outside of the pocket, out of sequence. If you could keep him in the pocket it's when he had his most trouble. But
Yep.
that's not characteristic of him in the last couple of years.
No.
So something's up with the timing. And I don't get it because Flowers, these are his guys. Andrews is there. Flowers is there.
Yep. Hopkins.
Bateman's there, which nothing happened with him. Hopkins. But it's almost like the timing's off somehow, even though these are his guys, the timing is off. And he he obviously made some plays in the pocket, but his best plays were on the run throwing.
Yeah. And some of the throws were really bad. Like there was people open and it like hit him in the feet and stuff like that. Like I feel like he struggled more with the wind than Burrow did. I feel like I think he had some throws that were not accurate early and then was trying to compensate from it is what it looked like, because it was, I've never seen him. That was 17 for 32 was not a good throwing performance for him.
Like, I don't know if you can win a championship when your highest targeted players are your tight ends, and then you've got 5 receptions to Likely, 4 receptions to Andrews. Both of them were targeted 6 times. Then 1 target to Henry, which was a 44-yard pass play, right? Just a short flip. And then almost nothing to your wide receivers of any.
It was 7 targets to Flowers, but he just only had 2 catches. So,
right, but that's my point. Like he was missing things all over the place. So all of your actual all of your receiving production was in your tight ends. Now, to your point, that was a chintzy push-off call. So Flowers' box score should look nicer because there should be another completion for a 45-yard touchdown probably in here, right?
Yes.
So we can't actually know how this game would have gone without all of those turnovers, without that, with that kind of chintzy push-off call. I mean, that basically just looked like standard hand checking to me. Anyways,
it didn't, like, I get what the guy said where like the wide receiver was running and extended his arm, and that's what they look for, which I get. But when you watch it, like, and even in the replay, I don't like the DB was right there and they were both grabbing each other. I don't know. I feel like that could easily have been not called. So,
yeah, I agree. So yeah, there's a couple marginal things here that it seemed like most of the marginal things did not go Baltimore's way. But we do have to talk about the Bengals. They made some big plays here. Now, Burrow was off. His timing and accuracy was off at the beginning. Understandable. He's been out for 10 weeks. The elements weren't great for passing, but it seemed to affect both QBs. But once he got on track, he started zeroing in there.
Yeah, he looked better to me all game than Jackson. And I felt that like he was back and looked really good considering how much time he's missed. It's fascinating to see because he's coming back from the turf toe, which is really bad, and there's no really good treatment for it. And they have to wear like an insole that's like basically metal, so it can't bend, which is super uncomfortable. And it's crazy that he was taking it off in between drives because but like it shows you how uncomfortable it is. So it's not like he's 100% physically, but it was playing, I thought, 100%. So
yeah, his mobility was all there. There didn't seem to be any problems with his mobility. So as uncomfortable as that thing was, he was managing it. Chase Brown looked good running the ball. Like the running game was there for them. 128 yards is plenty to keep it balanced.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I think that's exactly how. See, this goes back to like again the armchair quarterback stuff. But if you had to plan for your best Cincinnati game, it's going to be a lot of pass attempts for Burrow because he's great. You're going to target Jamar Chase a ton because he's awesome. And you want to have Chase Brown as your leading running back, and then, but like also have some carries for P. Ryan, like so that they're both fresh, right? And that when you look at the box score, that's exactly what it is. Like Burrow had 46 pass attempts. It was a lot. Brown had 15 carries for 78 yards. P. Ryan also had 14 carries, 39 yards. Not as many, but that's fine because you spread it around. And Jamar Chase was targeted 14 times, which is a ton, 7 catches for 110 yards. And that's what makes the box score for Baltimore look so crazy, because it's like Derrick Henry, 10 carries, 60 yards and a TD. And then you're like, well, that doesn't, what happened? That doesn't.
Why does it stop there?
Yeah. Flowers, 2 catches, 6 yards. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right.
Doesn't
like
look right either.
No.
Yeah.
So it's anyway, that's, it just felt like that they had a good game plan and it is what you thought it would be, and they executed it.
Yeah. Now, I think Cincinnati could have scored more first, I have another note saying overall, it looked like Cincinnati had the edge on the lines of scrimmage.
Yep.
Seems on both
I agree
sides
with
of
that.
both lines of scrimmage. Now, I know Baltimore's missing, I think their 2 starting D tackles have gone down for the year. So, but everyone's dealing with injuries. It's worth noting. But then again, Bengals are missing the number 1 sack guy from last year,
Yep.
Trey Hendrickson. So
Yep.
everyone's missing something, right?
Yeah. People always are fond to point out in our comments and be like, "Oh, but this injury, this like everyone has injuries." We don't spend too much time talking about injuries because everyone's got injuries. No one's playing 100% right now, and it's
I'm still wondering if Jackson's not fully. I don't think he's fully all the way back. A couple of people. I mean, he's still fast when he gets out there. Once in a while, people seem to get the angle on him, and he's not busting out for 30 and 40-yard runs like I just remember him normally doing. He seems to, he'll get 5 yards, 10 yards, something like that, but it's not like what he can do, it seems like.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call because there was a couple times in the game where he scrambles out and a defender runs out and sort of boxes him in, which that never would have happened before. Like he would have just flown around and separates himself from anyone chasing him. So that was, you're right about that.
And the pocket was collapsing around him more than usual, I guess, or I don't know. I guess I don't know if this offensive line's struggling like this. In this particular game, it seemed to struggle, even though there was no Hendrickson. I think the Bengals were feeling the loss of Higgins. So Tinsley was I guess filling in sort of the way they set up the offense in that role, as it were, and he had a wide open touchdown that he just stopped. He just geared down. He just stopped running, and I thought, "What are you doing?" And I think the announcers called it out too.
Yeah,
but you can't gear down there. You just but that's, to me, that's just a lack of experience there. Higgins would have ran that through and caught that touchdown. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and the announcer had a great call with that. He goes, that'll be the last time he ever does that. Because because that on, you're thinking that, what Burrow can't get you the ball? Like, is that what you're, like that? So that,
that's not Jake Browning back there. If you have a step, the ball, you better be looking up because the ball's coming. Like that was, he had like 5 yards on the guy. He was wide open and he just geared down.
Yeah. Back to your original point too about Cincinnati could have scored more points. They settled for 6 field goals. So you're 100% right. Like that some of those should have been touchdowns. So
and that's credit to the Ravens defense early in the game. They were stopping them constantly on those short. I mean that ugly fumble still only turned into a field goal. It was on the 3. They were first and goal on the 3. I think it was 3 in a row. They stopped them. One of them, I think, they don't even go for the field goal. They just get stopped all 4 down. I think it was that one. And then finally they started kicking field goals because they were just getting stuffed in the red zone. And I thought, okay, after it happened 3 times and they only had 9 points after all of those turnovers, I thought, okay, the Ravens have weathered this storm of turnovers. They've limited the Bengals to field goals. The Bengals have squandered every opportunity, and the Ravens are going to settle in here. They're going to keep running the ball. They got it. They got this. And then the turnovers just keep happening. And then finally the Bengals offense starts sorting it out and start actually getting into the end zone. And one of them was that beauty to Iosivas. They had him lined up on a linebacker who just can't cover him. And again, Burrow's going to drop it right in the bucket. And then that beauty to Tanner Hudson on of all people,
catch, that one.
On of all people, Kyle Hamilton. So it doesn't really matter who's out there. He's going to find you. You just better be looking for the ball, Tinsley.
Yeah. No, you're right about that, about the field goal in the Baltimore. At the half, this was 12-7, right? Yeah. So and Cincinnati only had field goals in the first half. But it's really that, and like you said, like now Baltimore is going to settle in. And so they get the ball to start the second half, 3 plays and out. 3 and out, and then Cincinnati gets a touchdown. And so at that point, it really felt like it was, they're playing from behind.
So we have to give credit to the Cincinnati defense for bowing up here and actually showing up, minus their best player, bunch of younger guys on the field.
Yep.
And that defensive line took it to them. The secondary was playing better. It was. I mean, you could say the story of this game was really the Bengals defense finally being what looks like a competitive defense. And that's, yes, there was turnovers. Yes, turnovers sometimes it's just they regress to the mean. Sometimes it's luck, but you still had to be there. You still had to make it happen. So the good for the Bengals defense. And then the one to circle all the way back to the likely turnover crossing the goal line. Obviously, you have to hustle on that play. It ain't over until he crosses the goal. Like, you have to hustle. I went to a Cal North Carolina game, and North Carolina was about to complete the comeback. And as the guy was going into the end zone to complete the comeback, a Cal player punched the ball out, went through the end zone, game over, just like this. But It ended the game on a play like this. So the game ain't over until that play is not over until he's got that ball across the goal line.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's something like, and again, this is Cincinnati was 3-8 going into this game. And I don't know if they hustle like that, if Burrow's not playing, or if they're not playing as well as they were in this game, right? Because you're going to be more motivated at that point. And hats off to that guy for chasing it down and doing that, because you're absolutely right. It's not a touchdown till he breaks the plane. So
and I think he was carrying it loosely because he just finished hurdling a guy. And when you hurdle the guy, your arms are just out for balance, not like you don't hurdle and have ball control kind of at the same time. You're a little bit wide, and it looked like he was just actually bringing his hands back to get two hands on the ball, and he just couldn't get there in time. And I don't know that he really sensed
flew
the guy
out
coming.
too. Like it was,
and I don't think he sensed the guy who was coming.
No, he totally didn't.
Eventually knocked it out. So good for the Bengals defense for the not giving up on that play and just sticking in there the whole game. And I mean, in the end, the Ravens should have scored more than 14 points, even with some of these turnovers, and they just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see. I mean, this is going forward. Baltimore they can't play like this if they want to win the division or make it in the playoffs. Cincinnati, thanks to this win, they've got a chance now. And I guess that's all you can really ask for. Like, they're going to have to pretty much go 5-1 or 5-0 like their next games, but they could. So,
I mean, they need a ton of help, but they're not technically eliminated yet. Right?
No. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, geez. Though, it's good for the Bengals. I'm glad Burrow's back, because it's one of the best players in the league. And it's so much more fun when he's actually playing.
I really enjoyed watching this game, and I wouldn't have if he wasn't in it.
No, I wouldn't have watched it at all if he wasn't in it. I think they get Higgins back next week, so that should be a boost too. And then as far as the Ravens go, this is the team. I mean, obviously they're missing some players, but like we said, everyone is, and the players that are missing aren't Lamar Jackson, and they aren't Derrick Henry, but those two guys somehow are making critical errors throughout this season.
I know, and you got to fix the turnover thing, and I don't know how you do that exactly. So
I don't know how you get into that position in the first place to know what to do to fix it. I don't know if it's just luck.
Stop turning it over. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, how about that?
I'm sure
stop turning it over. Yeah.
I'm sure they're telling them that, but I don't, got to make it happen.
Yep. All right. That's all I got. You got anything else on your notes?
That's it for me.
All right. So, well, if you're still with us, we appreciate you checking out the channel. We know it's small. We just started it last year. But if you'd like what we got going on and you'd like to support us, like and a subscribe would go a long way, and we'd super appreciate it. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.